Marvel makes many references to their other plethora of content. And end scene credits. And with that,
you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, Marvel sucks. Okay, well, there's the cold open.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, Payne,
Hello.
and special guest J2. Welcome back.
Hello.
Before we forget, because I will always forget by the end of the podcast, plug yourself now.
Yep. So you can. My name is J2Ruto. J2Ruto. You can find me anywhere on the internet at J2Ruto. I'm on Twitter. Well, what's the Twitter these days? Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads. I also stream on my personal Twitch channel. Also have a YouTube channel. So everywhere you can find me. And who knows? One day, eventually, sometime soon, you may be able to find me at your local community theater through comedy, or also in one of your shows that you hopefully enjoy, doing voice acting. So be on the lookout for me everywhere and anywhere. And overall, you can just find me anywhere on the internet. If there's work, I'll take it. I need money.
You know where else you'll find J2? Next week in my apartment, because he's fucking here for PAX Unplugged. By the way.
Exactly.
Your bed came in the mail.
I didn't realize you were ordering your bed. Yo, thank you, babe.
I said I would.
But yeah, I'll be at PAX Unplugged running games for Hunters Entertainment. You can also find me there. So, again, I need money.
Yeah, so as far as like your YouTube and your streams, what would you say is your usual content? Like what kind of games, what kind of vibes?
Yeah, so lately it's been MOBAs like Smite, but I've been trying to gear away from primarily gaming content. So since I'm doing a lot of improv, a lot of comedy, sketch comedy, I've been trying to incorporate that a little bit more into my content that I'm posting online. So I'm trying to still have the gaming component there, but also take other avenues of different ways of storytelling online. So I like to play tabletop role-playing games like D&D. So try to incorporate a little bit more of that into my streams. I ran a couple of TTRPG streams this past year. I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of hard work. So the hard work component of it, or the work component of it, is why I don't do it that often. Whenever I go all out for storytelling, I go all out. So I fully invest myself in doing the work, and everything else, full-time job, other commitments kind of fall to the wayside. So I just kind of sort of find a balance between that, but try to do a little bit more of that tabletop role-playing content is what I'm going to try to bring it to 2025, along with finding various means of storytelling through various mediums outside of just gaming specifically.
Neat. Yeah, because you've participated in some of Payne stuff, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we ran did a couple of games for Payne. I forget the game name. It was
Blades in the Dark
Blades in the
was
Dark,
we did that, and then I know you've been part of multiple charity paloozas.
Yeah, those games are fun.
Yeah, and I
Are
know
those anywhere on the internet for people if they want to watch it again?
All of them are on my YouTube channel. So it is Payne. Just throw that into YouTube. I don't think that link's below. But I don't know. I'm the one that uploads these all the time, and I'm like, I don't remember what I post down there because I just copy and paste it.
Yeah.
The most work I have to do with those things is when we have a guest. So I got to go find their links, and I'm like, because I know some of our guests have like different names, like for their thing, like Blackjack. His Twitter name and his YouTube name, or not YouTube, his Twitch name are different, I think, and so it's like, I gotta go find this guy. And I know with JR, he was on 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, I think I linked his Twitter, and I'm like, I don't think this boy uses social media at all. So it's just like, what's the point? I'm like, whatever, it's there anyway.
Yeah. I see him on Instagram every now and then, but outside of that, I don't really see him over on Twitter.
Yeah, not Twitter, but every once in a while I'll get his TikToks.
Oh.
Yeah, which is
I've seen them
his
every
clips.
once in a while too.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. I got the double plug out of these too. Payne never plugs himself. I have to sit there and be like, hey, D-Payne, you have Charity Palooza. D-Payne, you're finishing up your other podcast. Maybe you could say something.
Yeah. Do it. Go listen.
Those are important to plug.
Yeah.
But yeah, J2 has joined us on a number of episodes. Was the last one last year's series?
No, he was on an A24 episode.
Oh, okay. My
I don't
brain
remember
just
which
keeps,
one.
My brain keeps just sticking with the whole
Blood
idea
Beat.
of Bloodbeat, the samurais and armor, and us going, oh no, we made J2 watch this. We
No,
just saw
J2
samurais.
chose to watch that. Oh no, wait, did we? I can't remember. That one we didn't give him an option
Yeah, I
because
think
all
that
those
was
movies were
given to me.
terrible. We're like, samurais, cool. What are they doing? That's how he gets his powers?
We were like, wait, the music and what she's doing and the murder. Oh no. But yes, that was definitely an episode, or a movie to watch, but a fun episode to talk about.
That whole series was a thing to watch. I brought up the list. Your last time on here was Talk to Me.
Oh, that was
yes.
a really good movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, I don't remember because I was like, that was a good movie. Of course, we watched that together.
We
Yeah.
need to watch more terrible movies. Become the next whatever it's called. The guy that talked with the puppets watching bad movies. Mystery Theater 5,000, 9,000, 5,000, 3. I got there. Never.
Just all the odd digits.
But yeah, my mind automatically goes to that samurai movie too, because that one sticks out in my mind first and foremost. And then that other, when they see us, this kind of sort of the secondary one, where I'm like, oh yeah, I did watch that, and we did talk about that.
Yeah, because it's like, I can say for sure that I have never watched a movie like Bloodbeat, and I don't think I ever will.
Same here.
Yeah.
I don't know. That whole horror Christmas series. The funny thing is, with the questions that we ask for this series, they definitely would fit the Christmas season more than most of the movies we watched this Christmas winter anime episode series.
Yeah.
But they are not as good. Some of them are very memorable, not for good reasons, but it was. I don't know. I think I always remember the ginger dead man. It was just like, what is this? Someone watched Chucky and thought this was good to do with William Dafoe.
Not William Dafoe. William Dafoe is a very different actor. Gary Busey.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they both might do a lot of cocaine, but Gary Busey in particular has to do a crazy amount. Because anytime I see Gary Busey in interviews, he's always like his teeth are chattering, and I always assumed it was because his head was, or like his false teeth were too big for his head. But I think it's the what do they call it? Skiing? I think I've seen it said on the internet now.
Skiing?
Oh yes.
Like,
yeah.
I haven't. I'm not on that side of TikTok.
Because I've seen it where people are like, how do these creators have so much energy? And they're like, oh, honey, they're on a ski trip. And that's the terms and guidelines way of saying, they're doing a lot. But yes, this episode, there was
It's brought to you by the letter S.
There was
Skiing.
there was no snow, even though the last movie in the series had a lot of snow. So we were hopeful it was getting more snowy and more wintry. This episode was just chilly. Or the movie for this episode. It's just a little chilly at one point.
Oh no, the one before this was Wolf Children. It had
there's a lot of
snow.
snow.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you because we recorded. Hey, I have no problem messing up the timeline. I do it all the time. We watched the next week's episode already too.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was the other episode, a lot of snow in either.
There was a lot of
those.
snow. Yeah, I remembered which one, and then I was like, oh yeah, there's snow in Wolf Children. That was a good movie. It was a good movie. Next week, you'll just have to turn in and find out it was a good movie.
But yeah, so this is a continuation of our winter anime series, where I trusted a list on the internet to tell me what movies were good to watch during the winter.
I trusted Hop.
Yeah, and yes, and part of this movie was cozy, like you could drink hot cocoa and sit and watch this movie, and it made sense. But for the most part, I don't think it was very wintry specific.
Whoa, spoilers.
If you haven't checked the title, we watched Whisper of the Heart, which is a Ghibli movie I hadn't seen before, But I
Same.
think I was told that Whisper of the Heart you should watch before Cat Returns. And I looked at the poster for Cat Returns because it popped up automatically, like, you might like this movie. And I was like, that looks like The Baron. Do you want me to send you a picture, D-Payne?
I'm looking at it on Wikipedia.
Well, yeah, I had that movie pop up for me also after watching Whispering of Hearts.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's Catman.
But I did find it quite interesting. Just kind of sort of how, or one of the things that I like about Studio Ghibli's movies is how they somehow begin to kind of sort of form this web to tell overall story. So just within the movies themselves, they don't tell a story, but they also work on telling stories with other movies and have some sort of connection to other movies, which is what I think I like the most about Studio Ghibli's films, outside of them just being beautiful in the sense of picture, in the sense of sound, and just overall being able to tell that collective story.
Yeah, like I saw in the clock, I haven't watched the movie, but I saw the clock was labeled Porco Rosso, and I was like, oh,
I
that's
noticed that
another
too.
movie. But before we accidentally dive into spoilers and things like that, are you guys ready to roll some dice so we can give people a quick synopsis of this movie?
Yeah.
Where's my die? There it is.
So we're rolling D8s. Whoever rolls lowest gets to give the synopsis because we make up our own rules here. Like J2 said, all of us play tabletop RPGs, and we'd like excuses to roll dice.
Yeah. No.
Man, I want this die if I ever have to roll damage in TTRPG.
Did you roll another 8?
No, I rolled a 7.
Oh, I rolled a 6.
I rolled a 3.
Yep,
You did say it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Tradition holds up again.
These
The
dice-
guest gets to do.
These dice have let me down.
Now I have more responsibility.
Yeah.
So, do your best to summarize this almost 2-hour movie in like a sentence or two.
All right. So basically, this movie is about high schoolers going to high school. Starts off with them taking an entrance exam. This one girl tries to, which she's the main focal point of the story. I forget her name. Shizui or Shizuku. She basically is trying to figure out what she wants to do. She does a lot of reading. Parents who are in the household, but technically aren't necessarily there in terms of being attentive to their daughter. She has a sister who comes in from college who has a part-time job and then decides to move out. Then the main girl or the main character basically goes through this whole arc of finding a boy that she falls in love with, initially pushes him away, but overall goes to an antique shop, really finds out kind of sort of a story about a clock tower that is there. Then she kind of sort of finds out the antique shop owner is part of one of the boys that she likes. Overall, it's about, in general, it's about a love story of a girl who initially doesn't like a boy and initially likes them. And both of them are pursuing their dreams. The girl is pursuing her dream and writing, the boy's pursuing his dream as being a violinist. And overall, it's just about how their stories are kind of starts off apart, but then it ends up converging into at the end where they decide that they want to marry one another, even though they're still in high school and still pursuing an education and getting their careers off the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd say is like emphasis.
The giant
on
robot. No.
the emphasis on them being young. It's very much a coming of age story and young love and all those different like, as for me watching it as an adult, I was like, these are big emotions for a little body.
Yeah.
Me as an adult, I was like, I think I remember that stage, but I hope I wasn't that stubborn. I probably was, but
I'm sure we all were.
yeah. So D-Payne, you ready to kick us off with some questions?
Yes, as soon as I find the questions again. There we go, I found them. So, we might have already mentioned this earlier, but how much does this fit the winter season?
I would say
There's your answer, everybody. No.
I would say it doesn't really fit the winter season at all. If anything, it fits more of the fall season because it was mentioned that this movie was, or a couple of scenes in the movie were set in late September, early October, if anything, I think they were able to get to November. So we saw like a little bit of we saw the temperature changing in terms of this rainy season that was coming about from those temperature changes, but we didn't really get to see a full blown out winter. It was brought up a couple of times that it was starting to get cold, and Shizuku kept leaving her coat at home, or she didn't really have a coat with her. So I think overall it was getting ready to wrap up to winter season, but didn't quite make it to winter season.
Yeah, I'll give it a D minus.
F. Santa wasn't even in this mood. Nah. Yeah, it's a good movie, but I don't know. I feel like this movie could be watched all year round.
Yeah, because it starts in summer, and then it ends, because it's like the end of summer break before they go back to school, and then it kind of ends as their first semester of school pretty much wraps up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like as the cold season begins, because she opens up her window and is like, I see my breath.
Yeah, and then the old man is
spoilers.
like... and then the old man is sitting there with like the fireplace, and they do a lot of emphasis about, share my coat, young love.
I probably would give it a C minus since this was wrapping up. If it was a longer movie, then I think it would have eventually got there. I mean, not like 2 hours is not long enough.
I gave my score, and I already forgot what I said.
You said F out
Was
loud.
it? Yeah. Well, that was more jest, and then I'm like, what do I actually feel? I'm like, man, I'll keep it.
Yeah, like, I think they were definitely cozy moments, so I can see where someone was like, oh, I like watching this in the winter, because a lot of the bigger moments of the movie definitely happen when it's chillier. Because I was like, she's complaining that it's really hot out. I think I messed up this list order. And then when she's talking to her friend, they're in sweaters. I was like, at least they're in sweaters.
Yeah.
At least we kind of got there.
Mm-hmm.
So then...
Speaking about characters, how did you root for the characters? How much? How much root? How much root character you?
Are you... The way it's phrased, I was like, our character tree?
Yes. Character tree, big root, many branches, not so many leaves.
Yeah, my favorite joke is, so I'm not too big into Lord of the Rings, but my favorite joke I've seen is Tolkien must have really loved walking because even the trees walk in those movies.
I want to change my director for my birthday month.
Okay.
To make you watch Lord of the Rings. No, I'm not changing that. Any poops? I rooted for the cat.
Moon/Muto.
Yeah, best character.
I like how she made him the villain.
Yep.
I don't know. I thought everybody's dreams were way too big and they were being really unrealistic and unfair to the people around them. So I didn't really root for anybody. I was kind of along for the ride.
That's
I guess I rooted for Yuko.
Yuko's the friend, right?
The friend who's like, I finally figured out I have a crush on someone and they didn't even write me the letter, and then the stupid boy said something stupid to me, and I was like, you're a lot more relatable than the main character who's like, you can't love me, I'm unlovable. I was like,
yeah.
Let's calm down.
It's like, yeah, and then I was like, wow, isn't that a little irony? It's like, you're so dumb, you don't realize that girl likes you, and it's like, you're so dumb, you don't realize he likes you. What?
I know, and then she got so upset, and I was just like, honey, we can talk through this.
She got over it very quickly.
Well, she never liked him, so she never...
Well, like, she I don't know, there was like it felt like she felt bad. Like,
well, I think she felt more bad for her friend because her friend has the crush on him. So she's like, I'm not going to be the reason that me and my friend stop being friends over a stupid boy.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I probably would say that I probably would give this one a D because there really wasn't that many characters that I was rooting for. Shizuku, all in all, from my perspective, I'm like, yeah, okay, you found a boy that you like or that you supposedly love, but y'all are you're moving a little bit too quickly into it, and also make sure that you know you don't quite fall into this trap of, you know, really giving your all to someone, but at the same time taking your passions and throwing them off by the wayside. So I thought Shizuku and Shinji, each of them had their own passions that they were pursuing, and I would have loved for them to focus on those passions a little bit more rather than focus on this burning desire that they have for one another. And if they honestly and truly love one another, then whenever they would go off and focus on their passions, they could eventually be able to return and be able to be kind of sort of a more complete unit rather than saying that, hey, I'm going to kind of sort of put my passions to the wayside for now in order to pursue this love that I have with you. I would have liked to see a little bit more of a, hey, let's focus on our individual passions. Let's try to build something together apart, and then let's come together and try to build together to see what amazing thing that we can make, because they each had pretty great passions in terms of, I liked the whole writing aspect of it. I liked the whole violence aspect of it. I would just love to see those passions pursued a little bit more in terms of, I'm really, especially whenever they're coming of age, I'm really trying to establish myself as a person first and foremost before I actually try to become this unit that has to spend a lifetime together and try to find out who I am within this unit.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I'd also give it a D, but I think like what the author, at least my interpretation, I think the author just wanted to tell kids stay in school through a really dramatic long twist of words. Because I like how she's like, I wrote a story and it frickin' sucks and I frickin' hate it, but I'm gonna let the frickin' old man read it. And then he's like, I could tell you tried, so like keep working on it. She's like, you're so right. I gotta go to school to be a good writer. It's like, whoa, who would have thought? Who would have thought you need literature to write well? But
nah, it's overrated.
but yeah, so I give it overall a D. How about you, D-Payne?
There wasn't enough robots for me to root for. So nah, I think all the characters I liked were not the main focus. Like that I was. But they also didn't like their goals when I like the old man. I like the old man and I like the dumb cat.
Yeah.
Like I like the goals of the cat. He's just like, I'm gonna get in any of these houses.
I'm gonna get free food.
Yeah. I can totally relate to that. I'd be
You can call
allergic
me anything you want, just feed me.
Yeah. Just don't call me late to dinner. But I guess the discovery that girl, I forgot her name, main girl,
Shizuka.
looking on Suzuki. Yeah, I'm like looking on all the different windows I have up to find her name. But yeah, I did enjoy the progression of her, like, no, like, who cares about my silly stories, to where like kind of boy comes in and he's like, he has such a great goal, what worth am I? And it's like, it's, what's that called? No, it's the opposite, where boy only finds worth when girl dies, the main trope of that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, I forget what it's called.
Like the fact that he went away made her
yeah,
grow
it's like
fonder of him.
not grow fonder, but it's just like he has this goal that he's going for, and it's like
it pushed
that
her.
Yeah, that pushing her, and it's not so much that, like, in the movie that was the catalyst, but I did enjoy the her, like, just going from, like, because the whole, like, first half, well, 2/3 of the movie, she's like, no, like, my life isn't like a fairy tale. It's like, how boring is your life that, like, I found a cat on the subway and I'm going to find him. I'm going to follow this dumb cat for adventure.
I mean, she was also obsessed with finding out who kept renting out the books ahead of her. And like,
oh, yes. Yeah.
I mean, I know, like, nowadays, like, we have the digital system, so I don't really have a means to check that. But even as, like, in elementary school, when I would get stuff from the school library, I didn't look at my punch-out card or who had it before me. I was just like, Goosebumps, yeah!
I did. I was always like, who are these weirdos?
I'll say I'm a complete opposite. Especially with textbooks. That was one of my favorite things to do is, you know, get a textbook. And I had a sister who was about 2 grades ahead of me in school. So whenever I get an opportunity to take classes that she was in, I always run to the textbooks and check and see if, hey, did I get the textbooks that my sister had, or did I get a textbook that one of her friends had? So I was always obsessed with looking at the textbooks, seeing who rented them out or who had checked them out before me and just overall getting that. I was a very curious kid in terms of heavily involved in the books and knowing which person had the book before me. So I'm about to say out of
But
all
would
of
you? Yeah, I was gonna say, would you stalk someone who had gotten their book twice in a row though?
Oh, absolutely not. I would not. That would have been me having way too much time on my hands.
You should live life. Stalk that random.
Yeah,
Run into the street with oncoming traffic.
exactly. Show up at the doorstep. I found your textbook.
Breathe heavily. Hey.
Don't tell me your name is.
You jerk. But I think I did enjoy like seeing the process of her, like, even though it took a guy following his dreams for her to be like, oh wait, I can write. And well, this is kind of getting to spoilery town, but it's just like I like how both of them chasing their dreams at that point. We'll probably talk about it later, but I like how it ended rather than it felt like kind of some movies would. But no, it's like I think I enjoyed that. Like at the first like 2/3, I'm like, hey, what is this? But then I'm like, once she's like, this is what I want to do, and like give it my all, it was like, I'm a little bit invested. It might be a little close to home as well, but it was like,
Are you polishing your inner gems?
I'm making a mess. But yeah, so I'd probably give it a C minus. Like as I said, I wasn't like heavily rooting, but I was.
You saw some things that you
resonated with, but also was like I don't know. I always like it when I always root for people when they when they find something they're really passionate about, and I always enjoy reading the stories, whether it's people getting jobs or being like, this is what I want to do, and just seeing and reading and like seeing the progression of it. It's just, it warms my heart.
Yeah.
And I try to be like, yeah, do it.
Let me tell you who I really was rooting for. Shiho, which she's the older sister to Shizuku. And she basically decides that she's going to, spoiler alert, move out of the house. And she's on a part-time salary. And she's moving out of the house on a part-time salary. And is basically going to put herself up in her own place. So I was like, yeah, you go do that. You can do that in the 90s. Leave the house on a part-time salary and be able to fully support yourself. But in today's economy, you need a full-time job, and almost a full-time job isn't enough in order to support yourself.
Yeah, this was also released mid-90s.
It's setting
95.
in 1990. Well, it came out in 95, but I think reading a couple of things, the setting is 94.
94. Yeah, so mid-90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could tell from their outfits. I was like, that's a 90s outfit. Like when the sister first shows up and she's in like the high-waisted jeans and like the sleeveless collared shirt, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a very 90s like JCPenney outfit. So then overall what grade would you guys give to the plot?
I liked it. As I said, I think it took a while to get there, because it's like the first start of the movie, it's just like, here's all these characters, here's all that, and I'm like, I think I said this in other episodes, I literally don't look up anything for these things. I just normally I have gone in blind to every single movie. And so I think I just saw a picture of like Cat in a suit just jumping around doing stuff, and I'm like, when's she gonna go to Magic Town? and I was like, no. Okay, no. All right. But no Magic Town. And then Magic Town does show up, sort of, and you're like, not what I was expecting. But
yeah, the cover's very deceiving for the like the film art posters.
Yeah. But like once but I enjoyed it. I think like the first third, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I don't care about these children and their love interests.
Yeah,
do something.
The supposed like love triangle, and I was like, I didn't know these characters long enough to know that I should be invested in all of this.
And it's okay, because the movie tells you you don't need to. We're never touching this again. But yeah, it's. But as it went on, like, and we really focused like in like the world, like like the characters, the people, and everything. It's just like, okay, like I enjoyed I was enjoying it. So for me, I give it like a B.
Yeah, I think for me, I was gonna give it like a B plus because I think it's one of those movies that's good for a certain age group. It might not be for like me necessarily. Like, it almost feels nostalgic for me to watch this in terms of like, watching kids grow up and figure themselves out. And because another big point that keeps being brought up, she's like, "Did you know what you wanted to do with your life?" And they're like, "Nobody knows. We're all trying to still figure it out." And she's like, "No. How did you know what you're gonna do with your life?" And everyone's like, you kind of just like, you figure it out. And she didn't like that answer, which is a very young adult thing to have, where they're like, "No, I'm supposed to be figured out by 18. I'm supposed to have my job." And they're like, "Calm down." We're all like 40 years old and getting our masters. It's not that serious. Because I love the one scene where she's like, "Oh no, it's the first day semester and it's raining." And the daughter's like, "You're the one choosing to go to school. I'm forced." And she's like, "Uh-huh." And the mom leaves.
Yeah, it was the way she talked to her mom. I'm like, man, that's very rude.
Wow.
This is a rude child.
Yeah. How about you, J2?
I'm about to say I'll give this one a C plus. I enjoyed the theme of, I was fully invested into the theme of, her father worked as a librarian, and there's a lot of talk about reading and literature. And at one point, I think it was her mom, made a comment about, you shouldn't be writing so much because your head is in the clouds, and basically making it seem like, almost like how back in the 90s or before the 90s, how gaming was like that thing that would rot your brain out. And it was almost approached the same way, where writing, if you're always writing and have your head in the clouds, that was going to eventually rot your brain out. So I liked that component of it, of being very much so centric around books, around writing. I liked the other component of Shinji being able to have that passion for being a violinist, having overall that storytelling aspect of, he not only likes to play the violin, but he also likes to craft a violin. And so, if anything, I would have loved to see them kind of sort of do a time skip at the end, in terms of, okay, it doesn't necessarily need to be like a time skip of, real time. It could have been like them going off into some sort of dream world, dream reality. I would like to see them spend a little bit more time in that dream reality to just show that, hey, let's really show how these things can be interplay in terms of writing, in terms of being a violinist, because that requires you to utilize a lot of imagination. And I would just love to see that imagination be brought a little bit more to the forefront. And I think like Payne said, we spent a lot of time at the beginning focused on this love triangle aspect of it, where it ended up falling off at the end of the story. And I just would have loved that imaginary portion of it to be a little bit more prevalent in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense.
And robots. There should have been more robots.
More robots. You just liked Time of Eve.
No, I want giant robots. We should have watched that Christmas Gundam movie.
You could have put it on the list.
Next year.
But okay.
If there's enough anime Christmas movies for another one of these.
That'd be surprising. We'd have to watch full series to watch like their special holiday episodes at that point.
No, it would be funny just watching only the Christmas episode.
No context.
Yeah, and
Who's
watch
that guy?
It will be the fan service episode.
Oh, goodness.
And then they'll be like, well, here's KFC as well.
All the advertising. Yeah. Do you guys have anything else to add before we go into spoilers?
Yeah.
Well, don't we have one more question?
Oh, yeah, we do have one more question. Sorry, I saw the time and I was like, oh, we're already a half hour in. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think they
yeah.
did do a great job in this movie to have these kind of sort of adults or characters that were very much so grounding to the high schoolers that were around him. So Shiro, having him kind of sort of be that old figurehead who talks about his love life and how basically the things that he was doing in his life kind of sort of related back to him pursuing kind of sort of the love that he has lost, or just being able to explore that storytelling aspect of it. I like the whole character ensemble in terms of, you have these characters that were very much so focused on what they wanted and very so much focused on the lust, but you also have those characters that were pulling them back to reality and being like, hey, let me tell you this story, or try to get you caught up on things that I've went through when I was your age, and just overall, here's where your focus should be at, instead of your focus being over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the old man. Like his, I don't know. This is like the second movie in a row where I'm like, old man, good.
I wanted to explore
Very
more
different
of his antique shop.
Yeah. Well, it's a very different character from last week's old man.
Yes.
You're
Very
wrong. Cut the potatoes.
I do always find it interesting. Ghibli is always like, in every movie, it feels like he's like, by the way, there was a war. And it's like, yes, mister.
Wait. I think my favorite thing about Ghibli is like Miyazaki sacrificed his happiness to bring joy to the world, while Junji Ito just was like, this is what scares me, and now I'm the happiest man in the world.
He faces his fears instead of hiding from them.
Yeah. And then you got other people that did mangas. They're just like, where people are like, was that guy okay? Like the guy who did Berserk. And I don't know, another one. I forget who the guy who did Vagabond. It's such a good series, but he's like, I have to stop doing this because I get too much in the headspace of these characters. I need to. It's a really good story. Like, I think he did an ending for it. It's but it's like a really cool samurai story of like this evolution of this guy who came like from depravity and like in like that era, and just how he became like a warrior, and just how he did all this, and then he's like, this isn't worth it, and like was trying to find peace with all the sins he did. But like the guy, he's like, no, this I fall too much into the characters, and it takes too long for me to get out of this mindset. So I would say Vagabond, very good read. I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but anyway, that's not what we're talking about here. There might be snow in there because it's a long series, but not a Christmas episode. But anyway, the last question before we go into Spoil Town is, would you recommend this to others?
For this one, I probably would also give it a C. When I watch Studio Ghibli movies, my favorite Studio Ghibli movie of all time is Kiki's Delivery Service. So I would normally pair that in terms of, okay, do I see a lot of rewatch value in this movie? Because I wore Kiki's Delivery Service. I wore that VHS tape out like all day, every day. Anytime I could watch it, I would watch it. And so with this movie, Whispers of the Heart, it had a nice story to it, but I felt like it was a little bit too long in terms of just telling that overall story. And at certain points throughout the movie, I was like, okay, when is this almost over with? Okay, maybe I should work on something in the background. It didn't really fully capture my attention. So I probably would not, if I had to pair with other Studio Ghibli movies, it probably would not be one of those first and foremost movies that I would put up there in that list in terms of recommendations. But I think it has a special place in terms of the story that it was telling, and being able to have somebody watch it and be able to take something away from it.
Yeah, I think I land in a similar boat. I think I would give it maybe a B- for this, since it feels mainly like, I think it is a cute movie, and it is like cozy, and like with every Ghibli movie, the music and the art's always going to be good. But I think that because the characters are a little bit more like directly at face value, I think I would just have to, whoever I recommend it to, I'd be like, you can turn your brain off and just like hang out. You don't have to think twice about anything. There's not a lot of symbolism, because I think a lot of like later Ghibli movies like Spirited Away and things like that, there's a lot of symbolism that you could pay attention to. But I think this one, I'm just like, if you're just looking for a chill anime movie that makes you feel good by the end of it, then like, yeah.
I had a Kiki's keychain, but I don't know where it is. It used to be behind me. Like, I don't think it's here.
You lost it in the move.
Well, I have this guy. I never watched this movie though.
Totoro.
Yeah, I heard it was good. Go behind the first. Oh. Ah. Yep. But yeah, I am sliding away because my chair has wheels. I think when my niece gets older, I would like to watch this movie with her.
Yeah, like it's a very good young adult movie.
I think this movie, like where we are at in life, I do like. There's the reason why I like The Old Man, and we'll get into this when we go to Spoil Town, is there's a lot of the things that The Old Man says to main girl. I forgot all their names. That like it's almost things like I wish like there was a person like that in like my own life that was telling me when I was thinking about different things. But I like how the way he encourages, and I think this is like, but for us where it's just like, no, we understand, like it's nice to be reminded, but it's
we've learned this lesson the hard way.
Yeah, oh, that, and like we throughout time we learned like, okay, like the whole like digging deep, and it's gonna take work to do this. I do think yeah, so like I think I would give this like a B minus C plus like kind of thing, because I do think it's a good movie still to watch. It's like, as I said, like a good fun movie where it's just like, yeah, it's okay to watch. Like there's nothing wrong watching it, but it's not gonna be like, oh my goodness, there's all this drama. It's more like it almost feels like Miyazaki. Who was Miyazaki, the one that wrote this? I know he wasn't the one who directed it. Let's see.
It's a screenplay by Miyazaki.
Yeah, so it almost feels like this. Like I don't know, I'm wondering if, and this is gonna take longer to dig into. So like I'm wondering if this was like he was telling his own kids like this, the way he was trying to tell his own kids or grandkids like this message as well. And so I think. Like, I think if, like, you're, like, in your teens, like, or, like, kind of maybe a middle schooler to teenager, this would be a really good movie to watch with somebody at that age to, like, kind of have some of these conversations, like, because at that age, like, there's so many people that are trying to be like, well, what do I want, like, as we mentioned earlier, what do I want to do with my life? I remember having these conversations with teenagers, or, like, I'm being pushed to go into school, like into college, and I was like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. And it's like, okay, well, why go to school if you don't know what you want to do? Why waste the time and the money? Well, my parents are telling me. And it's like, okay, well, yes, listen to your parents, but it's just like, well, what, think about. And it's funny because I remember talking to a student that I had, and she was like, I don't know what I want to do. And I'm like, well, what do you like to do? Like, what is something that you enjoy doing? And she's like, well, I like doing makeup. And it's like, there's tons of jobs out there that do makeup, right? Like movie sets, theater, like even like company. And I think now she works, like she's in a makeup company. Yes. And like she went to school for like business to learn stuff like that and get into that, and I believe, if I remember correctly, she's into that, and she's really enjoying it. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to take credit for it, but it's like I remember being an older person. Man. Yeah, it's like, yeah, here's a rock. No. But,
I remember when I was in love once.
I remember when I did makeup in the wars. But I think it's a good way to like, kind of like when the brain is developing like future planning and that thought, and like when it's less like I'm in school gonna kick this ball to be like, well, what do I want to do in life? And it's like I think this would be like a good way to ease into that conversation and get the mind like, no, you're gonna start, you ain't gonna be perfect yet, but I think it's good for like that like preteen, young teen era before like they're too cool to listen to any adults.
Yeah, I have two parts on that. So two parts, one part tangent. Um, so I think overall they could have added another layer that could have begun to talk to adults and someone who's feel like they have arrived fully into adulthood, already have their life fully figured out, but at the same time feel like they're not necessarily happy where they're at. Shizuku's mom was going to college, still going to college, getting her master's degree. I feel like they could have played up on that storyline a little bit more. And also on the flip side, Senji's parents were very much so gung-ho about him going to high school, but he had this dream of going to Italy to play violins. And they let him go with the condition that if this does not work out with your master, then you must return home to basically follow what we say in terms of going to school. And so I think that was also a lesson in which they could have played a little bit more about, hey, let your kids at the age that they are at fully explore the wide range and depth of their dreams. And then if it doesn't work out, let them know that, hey, you can always come home. There will always be a place here. Let's try to have you come home and regroup and kind of sort of find out what you're going to do next in life. So I think if they played up on those storylines a little bit more, it could be a lesson that not only kids could take away in terms of the coming of age story, but also letting adults know that, hey, you know, you have these young human beings that you're taking care of, and they're starting to begin to get their own autonomy over themselves and being able to really want to go out into the world and fully explore what they want to do. Allow for them to be able to do that and have that grace of knowing that if it doesn't work out for them in terms of what you picture their life to be, that they always have a place that they can fall back on. So I grew up in a household where that was the case of I had very much so overbearing parents who were about, we have this path that we envision your life that it would be. And if you stray from that path, then that is something that is frowned upon within this house. So I think overall having that lesson played up a little bit more in terms of, you know, you can go out there and explore your dreams, but there's always a place to fall back on is something that I would have loved to see more to basically explain to adults that, you know, these kids that are in your life for right now are going to be kids forever, and they need to be able to fully explore the breadth of what they want to be. And also letting them know, adults know that, hey, even though you fully figure out your quote unquote figured out your life, it isn't always set in stone. You can always go back, learn more, do more schooling to go different ways. Because that's where I'm at in my career right now, where I went to architecture, got the master's degree. I found out that I didn't really want to do this. And so going back to Payne's point of about a couple of years ago, I went back to think, okay, what did I like doing as a kid? Yeah, I like drawing up houses and things like that and doing quote unquote architecture. But I also had this component of entertaining people that I enjoy. So let me go ahead and shift more of my focus onto that side to where it feeds a little bit more of that passion that I had as a kid. And so being able to finally, give into that and going back and doing things differently in terms of going to schooling a little bit more for the entertainment portion of it, I think overall allows me to be a little bit more happier and a little bit more geared towards what I really am passionate in life. And knowing that life isn't fully figured out. This is something that we're all maneuvering through, and something that we all will be able to, we can at any point say, never mind, I changed my mind. Let me go ahead and backtrack a couple of steps and then push forward towards that passion that I'm actually passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good other layer to it. So then it's not only a lesson for adults to say you do get second chances. It doesn't have to be this or anything else, but also a good lesson for parents too, where it's you need to teach kids how to fail and not be scared of failure in a way, because I grew up struggling with oh, I can't do this because it's not going to be good, and if I wasted my time doing it, then I'll never be blah blah blah. But realistically, yeah, you're never going to be good at something. Like the old man says, he's because the little girl's screaming it's a bad story. He's yeah, but I can tell you had some really interesting parts of it. If you sat and you polished it, then maybe it can be a story that you're proud of. And that's how any talent or creativity starts to blossom. It's not a overnight thing, and it's not necessarily just you have to sit there and only do that for the rest of your life to be good at it. But if you give yourself the breadth of looking into it, trying things out, and then growing from it each time you go back to visit it, then it's fine. And also, I think the other lesson that is kind of neat that they sneak in here is it's okay to be passionate about something, but also set yourself up so you're not starving on the street. So, like, rather than them going the route of, like, I wrote my first story, I'm only ever going to write stories for the rest of my life. They're like, maybe I'll write stories, and then I'll also go to school, because in case the stories don't work out, I at least have gone to school. And I have that as, like, you know, a balancing thing. So, yeah, there's a lot of things I think are unsaid, and if they were, like you said, dived into a little bit more, then it might flesh it out. Like, if we didn't focus on this whole love triangle. Because I feel it's almost like the first half of the movie is for one kind of audience, and the last half of the movie is for a different kind of audience. Because there are some people that love, like, the young love teen drama of it, but then you kind of lose that after they gets more into the meatier part of the movie.
Yep.
But Payne, do you still want to do the half-hour timer? We are already at 50 minutes.
I feel like some of the stuff we talked about in there. Maybe we can just do. Trying to think if there was any.
I think I got most of all my thoughts out.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to do a little, like, 15-minute timer or scream all of your thoughts out at once, that's fine too.
I was just wondering when this movie came out. To the. Oh, I don't want to select it. I was assuming.
Like the release date for Whisper of the Heart, or
like where it falls in
order?
Yeah. Okay. So it's a middle of it. Yeah, because that makes sense. Because, yeah, because in 1995. So yeah, Porco Rosso came out, which was the name of the clock. There was a book in the library named Tortoro.
I sent you a list. I don't know if it's the same list you found.
Oh, yep, that's exactly what I'm looking at. Yeah. Okay. Nah, I was just looking through to see if there was other things that were like kind of inspired. Yeah, because like as we mentioned, like little I guess snapshots, which was like it is really funny that it's like Whispers of the Heart was this movie, and then the next movie was Princess Mononoke.
Well, it makes sense to me because the song she starts to write is about how much she hates how industrialized her neighborhood is getting, and Princess Mononoke is anti-industry, just told in a very adult point of view.
Yeah, well, like even animation style is very different. Like,
well, yeah, because like Whisper of the Heart feels like Neighbor Totoro, like that kind of like.
Yeah, I never watched it. So
yeah, and then Mononoke and Spirited Away I think have more similar styles.
Mm-hmm. And Howl's Moving Castle's based off another book. But no, we can do. I don't know. Was there anything in there that I don't know. In short, like I think I said everything I would kind of want to. I don't know if there was any spoilerly talk that you had J2 if we wanted to start a timer, but.
I sent you a picture. You see how this art style is a little bit closer to Totoro than it is to Mononoke.
Yes.
But remember, it's a studio, so whoever drew for the different movies.
I like that little blue dude right there. I don't know who he is.
He's trying his best.
He's baby Totoro, just like, ah!
A lot less teeth.
Here's a fun question. Is if you had to take on the life of one of these characters, which character?
I would go to Italy for 2 months to be told I'm not that good at stuff. It means I got to go to Italy on my parents' dime.
Same here.
Granted, he has the perfectionism and the anxiety that I had growing up, but I already had it. Just send me to Italy with it so a grown adult can tell me I'm trash.
At least I know when I'm young.
Yeah, I figured it out before I spent all the money on it.
I would also want to be Shinji, and I just love the whole idea that he not only plays violins, but he crafts violins, and I was just so fascinated about that portion of the story that ended up coming up because I don't ever think about violins being crafted in a sense of the way that they told it in the story.
I finally enough read a fiction book recently where they talked about that area of Italy because some of the side characters were also making violins. And when he said the name of the place, I was like, That's like in that other book I read. But I was like, oh, everybody does their research. Nice. What about you, D-Payne?
Muda. Moon.
You want to be cat?
I want to be cat.
You have been saying that since the very beginning.
I
I don't
know.
know why I'm surprised.
I know.
You are the old man, but you want to be cat.
I am old man, but I want to be cat.
Which, would you respond to any of the names, or would you just
No.
float around?
I just do what that cat's doing. He's just like, I'm here now.
I did think it was funny that she was like, oh, you're on the train by yourself? And he was like, ew, don't talk to me.
I was, okay, like, oh man, the cat cracked me up so much, because, like, it's like, gotta, like, the animations out makes it looks like he has a lazy eye at some points, his cross-eyed, just like, yep. I'm waiting for like the one eyelid to blink while the other one's open, and then the other one closes.
The lizard blinking?
Yeah, just like, oh. But I'm like, man, this cat's been in the nip. But I don't know, man. That cat, that was great. I'd be allergic to myself, and I also, it might be the fact that I'm normally the villain in all the TTRPGs, just being the person running it, but it's just, I like how he was the villain. He just like was there in the story, just like, yep, I'm here. But no, like, dream life, Moon. What I hope to be, old man.
Fair enough. But I guess, like, I would also wish to be like old man. Because, like, having that figure would be nice. I feel like I didn't get that figure, so I just learned everything through the hard way. Like, I got to learn and fail when I was paying the bills and going, oh, I put a lot of time and energy and money into this, and I don't think I like it that much anymore. But sometimes that's the only way you figure things out.
Yep. So, I think there was something else, but I didn't keep notes for this movie.
I did not either.
I watched and ate the rest of the pumpkin cheesecake that I made for Thanksgiving.
I'll probably say one of my favorite scenes with Shiro in the movie is whenever him and his friends come back to the antique shop, and then they all join in and start playing with the kids, and I just overall love that scene, and that's one of the things that I love about Studio Ghibli movies is creating those very sweet moments within a very much so chaotic movie, or not necessarily chaotic, but a movie where a lot of things are going on. Just having those sweet breaks in the movie where it's just all about, really taking something as simple as just playing music and really hitting you in the heart with it in terms of just being able to showcase the beauty of that scene in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I assume when he started playing violin is when, like, she went, oh, I have a crush on this boy. It's official now.
Yeah. And then she learns his name. What? And then all the
You
old
jerk.
men are like, yeah. They like each other.
It also was like, I, again, never met any kids like this growing up, but, like, his strategy. I saw you in the library and you ignored me, so I checked out every book hoping you would notice I checked out every book. And I was like, did you just admit that you didn't read any of them? You want her to think you're this big reader and you have a lot in common, but you're not even reading the books. You're just checking them out as fast as you can.
Hey, to be fair, it worked.
Yes.
As someone who checked out every book in elementary school and took AR tests every single day of my 5th grade year, I'm low-key offended by that.
Because I realized he never said that he read the same stories. He just said, yeah, I made sure my name was in every book you would check out.
Wow.
I also thought it was a little funny where he's like, yeah, I literally sat next to you while you were reading, but you just never looked up. What?
But like, if I was into a book, I would not pay attention to someone around. I might glance up and make sure they're not trying to steal my stuff and then go back to reading.
No.
I read in public a lot, though.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm like, what? Someone came way too close. They're across the room too close. It's like,
You are the cat. You're hissing before
I'm like,
they
what do
even
you
sit
want?
down.
Yeah, I fully believe that I am a cat person that is just deathly allergic to cats. If I wouldn't die from getting a cat, I already know what kind of cat I would want to get. One of those ones with the little stubby legs, because they crack me up.
Oh, but they have so many health problems.
They can be loved too,
Well, I don't think they should be bred, is what I mean.
No, they're cat. They're not bred.
Anyway.
Yep, Hop's done with me today. So, yeah.
I guess overall, good movie, worth a watch if you're patient. If you're expecting a lot to happen, it's not that kind of movie. Mm-hmm. It's a very watch this kid grow up and learn a lot of life lessons. Not a bunch of action, not a bunch of drama, just coming of age story.
Mm-hmm. Not like Lady Bird. Not that.
That was a coming of age with a lot of drama. Yeah.
It was drama.
One thing that totally blew my mind about the movie was, and I just checked my notes and found this out. I never ever knew the origin story of Lo-Fi Girl until I actually watched this movie. So
I was thinking the same thing.
There were so many scenes. I was like, oh, that's Lo-Fi Girl 1.
Yeah.
That's 2.
Yeah.
That's 3. That's 4.
I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because I'm just sitting there and I'm like, wait a second. Yeah.
Especially when she had her headphones on and she was ignoring her parents. I was like, it's real. It's her.
Yeah. And then she moved to the city, and then there's Lo-Fi Boy, or whatever his name is now. There's a guy version, or Dubstep Boy, whatever it is.
But she does have a cat, so maybe she did kidnap Moon.
Yeah. Spray painted him.
I mean...
Forced him to lose a little weight. That was so mean, though. The guy's like, yeah, of course his name is Moon. Doesn't he look like a full moon walking away? I was like, he's just a happy fat cat.
Well, and then he said, especially from that point of view, as its butt is facing towards the
camera.
Yeah. I loved that cat when it was like, I followed this cat across town just to watch him taunt a dog.
I know, that dog was like, I hate you, and the cat was like, eh.
Dog's like, yep. And then there were a couple lines that cracked me up when it's just like, when she's walking around the town and there's like the little dog that's barking. It's like, could you bark any louder? And I'm like, does somebody ever say that to a dog? It's just like, yo.
Yeah, if you're walking that same path to school every day, wouldn't that just end up being like background noise? You're just like, yeah, it's the dog. I know where I am in the neighborhood.
It's my land. But yeah. I think that was it. And wait, did you guys watch all the credits?
No.
I did not.
It was 2:30 when I got to the end of the movie. I did not watch all the credits.
It wasn't a very long credit sequence, but there's implications that the two people who had their friend going after each other friends, I forgot their names already.
Yuko and Sugimara.
Is that a baseball boy and the best friend?
Yes.
Yep.
At the very end of the credit scenes, it shows her waiting up there, and then he comes up and they walk off, like in conversation, and it's like implying that, oh, someone did listen to the whispers of the heart and the shouts of their loud friend that they originally had a crush on.
I figured they were gonna get together when during the movie the guy's like, oh, I'll tell my friend he's not interested.
Yeah, but it's on screen. It's like the last thing that's on the pre-credit screen that has all the people walking, and I was like, hold up, I'm gonna see this. I'm gonna see if something pops up. And so what it just shows is just Ghibli was the inspiration for Marvel in multiple things. Like, as Marvel makes many references to their other plethora of content, and end scene credits. And with that,
You heard it here first, folks.
yeah, Marvel sucks. Okay, well, there's the cold open for the episode.
Yeah. But I don't have anything else to add, so I'm okay with waving the people off.
Yep. It's dark in my apartment now. The sun went to the other side of the building. So, yeah, J2, thank you for coming on. And
Always a great time.
yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always.
Everyone be sure to check his many things. If you live in any of the areas that J2 is on stage, make sure to check it out, because I don't live anywhere nearby, so I would love to hear from people how it is. And then, yeah, check out all his content.
The links are below. Ooh. And yeah, well, I guess when this comes out, hold on, this comes out like 2 weeks before Christmas, right?
Yes.
Well, Merry early Christmas, and for anybody else, happy Black Friday, because that's what today is right now.
The timelines.
There we go. I can't think of anything else. So anyway, doodles.
Bye.